Welcome to part 1 of our 3-part series, Discovering Life's Purpose Through a Near-Death Experience, interview with Miss Kimberly Clark Sharp. Miss Sharp is the author of After the Light, The Spiritual Path to Purpose, and the founder of Seattle International Association for Near-Death Studies, the world's oldest and largest support group for people who undergo near-death experiences. A pioneer in the field of critical care social work, she is also an internationally renowned speaker and has been published in numerous journals, textbooks, and magazines. On today's program, Ms. Sharp describes her own near-death experience, which occurred when she was a 22-year-old college student.
I was with my father, and I collapsed on a sidewalk, and I didn't seem to be breathing, and I didn't seem to have a pulse. There was a uniformed nurse that came over. She saw me collapse. She called the fire department and a local hospital. At some point, the ambulance arrived from the hospital, and I was breathing on my own. I was still unconscious, but the body was put into the back of the ambulance. My dad jumped in. Off we went to the hospital. In the emergency room, I heard a woman's voice from here to my left saying, "I'm not getting a pulse, I'm not getting a pulse." And I could hear her just fine. And I said, "Well, of course you're getting a pulse, otherwise I wouldn't be talking." And I felt like I was communicating, but I wasn't. It was all in my head. And she kept ignoring me, and she seemed so upset. So I thought, well, I'll just get out of here. I don't know how to explain that thought, but I let go. That's what I did. I let go. I then found myself in another place entirely. I wasn't alone. I was nice and comfortably warm, but I was surrounded by fog. And the fog was so thick that I couldn't see who else was there. But I felt like I was waiting for something, like anyone waiting for a train or a bus or an airplane. You have a ticket, you know it's coming, so just be calm. And that's how I felt. And then something showed up. That's something I don't have words for. Many people would say God. Many people would say source. For me, it was a big, bright light. It came up from under me with such power. It was just thunderous power. And a light brighter than our sun, brighter than anything. And this light was coming up under me and then going out in every direction, on and on and on. And at the same time, in a way that's hard to describe, it was layering on itself while it was spreading out, and the layers were endless. And I understood somehow that I was viewing eternity. It was endless. It was forever. And that has left me thinking that we are all eternal. I don't know in what form. I just know that we have eternal souls, for lack of a better word. Our bodies will die, but ourselves will not.
We'll pause a moment now for the following important message. We'll be right back. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Welcome back to our program. While Miss Kimberly Clark Sharp was experiencing this eternal plane of existence, she learned many interesting facts about our sojourn here on Earth.
So there I was having this, profound revelations, and I got to ask questions. The questions I asked were not in English. The answers were not in English or Chinese or any dialect known on Earth, but it was perfect. It was like telepathy. The communication was perfect. I asked, why are we born? And I was told that we were born because we wanted to. that we pretty much knocked on a big door and said, I want to be born here now. They're very, very defined choices. So that was interesting. I asked about suffering and was told that that is the quickest way to remember where we're from. If we had it cushy all the time, we probably would not be nice people. That we suffer, we turn to prayer, or we turn to loved ones, we turn to meditation. We do things that help us with that pain. And if the pain and suffering weren't there, then we would just be idle. I asked why in the world we would choose a life that would have so much suffering. And it was mainly just the same answers back and forth. You chose this. Your soul wanted these experiences. And it wasn't that I was learning anything. It was that I was remembering. So I'd get an answer and then go, oh, yeah. And I'd ask another question. It was, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think we are deliberately not able to remember where we are from or know where we might be going. So there I was, having a wonderful time in this light. I mean, beyond wonderful. It was ecstasy. It was ecstasy. And then I was told I had to go back. I was like, no. And God said yes. And I said, no, yes, no, yeah. We argued. Well, on earth, we have free will. We can argue and win some arguments. But in a spiritual realm, we don't have free will. I was set back. It didn't matter how much I protested. It's like, you're going back.
Soon after, Miss Sharp returned to her body in the emergency room, and she was extremely unhappy. Moments later, she had a second near-death experience.
Now I'm miserable because I'm cold. My body temperature was 86 degrees Fahrenheit. I was cold and miserable and begged to go back to God, begged. So God showed up again, kindly, and opened up like a portal or a window to my right. And through there was heaven, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. There was grass blowing and small white fence in the distance and some small trees and beautiful sky, but not in colors of earth. They were too intense for earth. Also, every blade of grass had awareness. It was alive. Maybe not the awareness that humans would have, but aware. And I realized everything in heaven and earth is alive. And it's wonderful. It's all energy. So I wanted to go there. But my creator is what I call this light. I don't have a word for it. God sounds religious, and it's not. It's just is. And I was told that if I went through that window, there would be no going back. Fine with me. So I started through the window. And then God, for lack of a word, said, well, just a minute. And my attention was turned like to here. And there was a big flash of light. And I saw a place where mountains meet water. Now, I was in the state of Kansas in the United States, very flat, not even a hill. So I didn't know where this was. And I was told that if I decided to live, I would be living in that location. Well, I didn't care. I wanted to go to heaven. I mean, I have goosebumps. I can't tell you how beautiful it was. How magnificent. Well, in fact, I said, homey home, which is what I learned from my parents. I used to say when I was little and learning language, because that was my home, and I knew it. So I have goosebumps. So then I started to go through again, another big flash of light. And there was like a picture gallery of people's faces. And I was told that if I chose to live, I would be interacting significantly with those people. They were strangers. I didn't care. So I chose to go to heaven. And then there was one more flash. And I saw myself, if I chose to live, being of service to others. And again, I was in college in America, so I went, cool. And I was back. It was like I'd made the decision. I was sent back. Seattle, Washington, in the United States is where I live now. That was where mountains met water. And all of the people I saw, except for one that I can remember, I did, in fact, and do interact with significantly. And I've been in service to others ever since, very happily.
We sincerely thank Miss Kimberly Clark Sharp for sharing her own experience and love. May you be blessed for your inspiring work. For more information about Miss Kimberly Clark Sharp's work, please visit seattleinds.org.